Hi there, I'm Monique. I am the host of Off by Purple Heart podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the finally arrived Suchwita episode featuring Jungkook. I said this, I wanted to see it so much, so stay tuned, we're going to talk all about it. Yeah, so I have to say, first of all, I love any episode of Suchwita that has a BTS member in it. I watch all of them because I think Yoongi's interviewing style is phenomenal and he's a very entertaining guy, and I think over the years he has definitely gotten even more of a sense of humor. He's always been a mischievous kind of man, but he is especially really funny now, and I think he's really found his groove with this interview style format. And I made a TikTok as I heard the explicit version of 7 featuring Jungkook, which is currently #1 right now on Billboard Hot 100. And I'm going to get into that as a sidebar in a minute. And I said, from when I heard the explicit version, I want him on Suchwita immediately, so I could hear Yoongi ask him to his face, hey, what's going on with those lyrics, man? But Suchwita did not feature that. They actually featured the clean version. They listened to that first and got into the episode. But it was just really entertaining overall because you just see that Jungkook is someone that does not like to sit down. He like touches everything. He's like super hyper. He's like bouncing in his seat, and you just see how bewildered Yoongi is, which is to me comedic brilliance at that. And overall, it's just a really warm feeling. I saw this morning on Twitter just irritating article, and there was like a little bit of an excerpt from it from Forbes, and it was talking about the success leading back to it being currently #1 on Billboard Hot 100 and Billboard 200 Global and 200 Global excluding the US. There's this excerpt from this Forbes article, and it was basically comparing Jungkook to Justin Timberlake. You know, that kind of path of divergence that the lead main vocalist of the band will take when he inevitably goes on to his solo journey, kind of hearkening to, you know, Harry Styles and One Direction and Zayn from One Direction and all that jazz. And, you know, now with the success of 7, now he is an American superstar. And it was just so irksome to me to kind of read that. And currently right now on Twitter, armies are kind of tearing that excerpt to shreds. You don't have to read it if you don't want to. I'm not trying to advertise it. I just wanted to make a point that one of the great things about BTS is that they consistently hype each other up, and I never really got the sense that there was any animosity to any one member receiving any more attention or more success. This is kind of delicate territory because I know there's a lot of talk. If you're a really big BTS fan, super fan, if you do call yourself ARMY, there is this talk of being OT7 versus being someone that is quote unquote a solo stan, and that's just kind of above my pedigree. I'm someone that enjoys all 7 members, genuinely enjoy all 7 members. Yeah, I have my biases in the group, but I genuinely want the success for all 7 of them, and I feel the same way with BTS. I never really got a sense that while they do have a competitive edge, they do have a competitive spirit to them. I genuinely have felt for many years that their brotherhood and bond was very much genuine, and just seeing Yoongi in this Suchwita episode already, you know, hyping Jungkook up, like, yeah, you got #1, you're going to get #1 on Hot Billboard 100. It's such a good pop track. And from the time he listened to it, like instantly you see his eyes light up and he like perks up and he's like, yeah, this is going to be a hit. I know this is going to be a hit. And I just felt like, you know what? I love that. I love that for the guys. I love that they have this bond where even with stupid articles like that coming out, and I shouldn't even call it stupid because I didn't read the whole thing. As I said, I just only read that little excerpt part, but it's always this thing where they can't quantify the success of BTS through the lens of here are these Korean men that have entered this global stage and are global superstars, and that can't be a win itself. You're success is only recognized if you are an American superstar, if you've made it in the United States, and da 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 da. And I don't want to get into like a whole rant about the West and West validation and da 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 da. But my main thing is he's already a global superstar, so that added part of the excerpt just really seemed unnecessary. Anyways, I'm going into a tangent that I really don't need to go into. I just want to get into the episode itself and just how funny it was. I just love Jungkook's energy. I enjoyed the fact that he was grilling that meat to perfection. He was drinking that drink. And I liked the stuff that was revealed. Some of that was kind of surprising to me because Yoongi had made a point of mentioning as far as promotion, because as it seems with Suchwita, the format, the members themselves feel the most comfortable revealing the most details on what their plans are for their solo careers in that show format. Like, since Suchwita has been filmed that episode, Jungkook has obviously done a lot of press around Seven, and he's been to multiple media junkets and has spoken to a lot of musical journalists and have talked about, well, what is your plans after Seven? When can we expect the album release? And getting into enlistment and stuff. And Jungkook has been very vague about it, but in the Suchwita episode, he just flat out states it that he's actually going to be releasing that mini album aiming for November, which is just a real treat that the guys leave like that big announcement type news for a format that's specifically for the fans. I think that's really cool. Obviously, it's on YouTube, Suchwita, and it's open for anyone's consumption. But for this kind of format, it is considered like a real in the trenches of ARMY or a major BTS fan format. I just thought that was really cool. But while they were talking about that, Yoongi was mentioning about like doing a solo tour and the challenges that arise from that, and how you have other 6 members to kind of offload some of those challenges. And when there is like set design and things like that, it's not really you yourself having to make all those details, versus when you're going out solo, it's much of a learning curve because it's you that's at the front line of having to be there to make up set design. And when you're not feeling well and you're under the weather, it's still on you to perform at your absolute best because you know you have this massive audience. And he had that in Seoul series where that was also being live streamed, right? And he had mentioned that he was sick, and the fans knew that he was sick. He had mentioned it kind of briefly in the concert settings while he's kicking back his gin, but he actually revealed just how sick he was within this episode and how he pretty much had lost his voice at this point, and that it took a lot of personal endurance and strength to like get through, and just kind of advising Jungkook on that, which was really surprising to me. But it just also goes hand in hand the professionalism of these guys, and that I very rarely see them not, you know, go at their full 100% no matter how they're feeling. You know, it was just mind-blowing to me. And there's just other little tidbits too. Jungkook talks about times where he's injured and had to sit back in, I think, what they call the chair of reflection during concert series and things like that. He had mentioned that one of his most memorable stages was doing that set of Euphoria where he's like flying around the audience, which I wish, if I had to go back in time as like for ARMY or a BTS fan, I wish I was around during like the kind of Love Yourself era. Because I would have loved to have seen Euphoria in that format with him flying around the stage, or even like Wings, because I was a massive fan of Wings. The whole entire concept, the stage show, even like the teaser trailer. But I'm getting off tangent again. But yeah, there's so much other things. I love that there's this amazing part towards the end of it where Jungkook starts singing, and you know, Yoongi, he has expanded his humor a lot. He's so much more smiley and laughy, and he's always been like a soft guy at heart, and he's always been just like a much softer presenting person than what his initial image was portrayed as. But you just see like the heart in his eyes and whatever. But as Jungkook is singing, he's like, woo, he's he's like dapping him up, and it's so funny. And then you see kind of his social battery deplete, and he's like, all right, I'm ready to pack it up. And Jungkook is just like, nope, I want to keep going. I want to keep going. And he's still singing like after Yoongi has wrapped it up. And he's like, yeah, I'm going home now. Production's done. Let's wrap this up. And Jungkook's like, no, I'm having a great time. Let me sing. Let me eat. I'm good. I'm good. Not wasting this alcohol. And it's just so refreshing. I love watching them in this format so much. They even Bangtan TV, or BTS's YouTube channel, they also uploaded like an after show as well of basically karaoke style for Jungkook. So it's just a wonderful episode. We got a flash of his abs because, you know, Yoongi's as thirsty as the rest of us. Got him to show his abs for a little bit. And see, now that I'm trying to relay all the information, it's just like, I'm like, okay, what other moments that I really loved? There was a lot of it, okay? There was a lot of it. But overall, I just really, really enjoyed it. And I just like the reassurance that these guys have so much love and respect for one another. They still talk about wanting to get on stage together as seven. You know, Yoongi had mentioned that Jin had mentioned a group chat because Jin is now, as the eldest, enlisted in the military with Hobie as well, and saying, you know, I really miss being on stage. I miss getting to perform in front of my fans. And there's just that sense of belonging, even though they can cheer each other on in their solo careers. And I know there's going to be a lot more probably stupid articles, or not stupid articles, but, you know, just annoying articles that make comparisons and draw comparisons between members. And there's that competitive edge as well, because I know, as I alluded earlier in the podcast, there is that element within the fandom of quote-unquote solo stands, and that there are certain members that draw the most attention, like the Maknae line, the younger of the group. People are looking at their views, their sales in comparison, like who's getting number one, who isn't getting number one, and this, that, and the third. I envision a lot more of that happening going forward, which is unfortunate, but I also really think these guys going solo is really great for their own personal growth. I'm one of those, and I've mentioned this on my TikTok as well, that I can absolutely see these guys coming back together 2025, 2026, which I think is more realistic with how, at the rate that they're enlisting, 2026, 2027, I can see them coming back together, having that big tour that they originally envisioned for Map of the Soul 7 before it was canceled because of the beginning of the pandemic. And I'm still bitter of this, of course, because I had tickets for Map of the Soul 7 for the Toronto show, and that I couldn't see it, and those amazing stages, including UGG, including Moon. It makes me very bitter. Anyways, I envision them doing what they wanted to recapture with Map of the Soul 7 on a big bombastic world tour galore. And then after that is said and done, after that major comeback, I could see them, you know, doing another hiatus as a group and going off and doing solo stuff even more so and expanding on that. And I look forward to that. I'll be honest with you, I do. I see them lasting for many, many years, and them touring as 50, 60 plus and doing like sit-down acoustic covers of their music. I don't think their legacy ends after they come back for that comeback, but I can envision them actually seriously doing solo stuff, and I can see, you know, Jungkook being extremely successful in that model, and to me that doesn't threaten their legacy even in the slightest. But there's going to be a lot more commentary, I guess I should say it that way. But I'm just here for the ride. I'm here for all 7 of them doing extraordinarily well in their careers. I'm here for supporting them in the long haul. So yeah, that's it for this episode for today. Thank you for joining me. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks. Please subscribe if you're listening to me on Spotify and or watching on Spotify as well. I appreciate that. I'm looking to expand this podcast beyond the Spotify sphere as well. But thank you. Peace out.